Greater than you, Lord. Good afternoon and welcome to our 6 o'clock service here at the Little Prayer Chapel in Columbia, South Carolina. Our sermon title is, Are You Convinced? Are you convinced that which of the two that prayed in the temple in Luke 18 verses 9 through 14 gave or received God's grace and God's mercy? I will be reading Luke one more time so you can get the gist of what I'm saying. It says, he also told this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and regarded others with contempt. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, was praying thus, God, I thank you that I am not like other people, thieves, rugged, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all my income. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even look up to heaven, but was beating his breast and saying, God, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his home justified rather than the other. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, but all who humble themselves will be exalted. Our lectionary readings for today is talking about the pouring out of God's Spirit, as well as the righteousness and the self-righteousness. One who believes in his self and the one who believes in the righteousness and the mercy of God. Somehow it is not to admit our brokenness or its impact on others. It takes humility to acknowledge how we need to change, to bring life and healing to our world and relationships. Unfortunately, though, through arrogance is far easier and far more common in our world. Even in the quest for justice, it is all too easy to become self-righteous and judgmental. For those we must challenge our opposite. But if justice is to become a reality in our world, and if people are to see the grace and compassion of Christ in us. It will take a commitment to bring broken in order that true humility may be an unmistakable mark on our lives. Two things especially make our prayers void and have no effect. Confidence of our own righteousness and our contempt for others. But a humble heart is contrary to both of these. This parable was to convince some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others. So what God and Jesus was trying to make us understand, that our righteousness is not the righteousness of God or Jesus if we despise our brother. If we despise those who work or those who are put over us. Contempt and is not of God. God don't have us be contempt of others. He have us be compassionate and graceful to each other. The Pharisee here mentioned was no hypocrite, no more than any outward adulterer, but he sincerely trusted in himself that he was righteous and accordingly told God so. In the prayer which none but God heard. See, nobody heard the prayer that the Pharisee was talking about. But the Pharisee was telling God how righteous he was, how he gave his 10%, and how he fasted twice a week. And then the tax collector, when the tax collector prayed, he didn't look up to heaven because he knew he was a sinner. So he prayed a simple prayer. We don't know exactly what he prayed, but we know when he left, he was found justified. Jesus tells a parable about a self-righteous Pharisee who failed to find a right relationship with God, and a patient tax collector who finds justification for his deeds. Now, if we take a look at what Timothy was saying in 2 Timothy 4, 6 and 18, Paul reflects on his faithfulness as he near the end of his life and looks forward to the rewards he will receive, assured to him by God, who rescued him in the past, even when others deserted him, will bring him safely into God's kingdom. Now we know before Paul became Paul, he was Saul. and he was a tormentor. He went around killing people and taking people money and all kinds of stuff. But he became one of God's most prominent believers in the gospel of Jesus Christ. So, I asked a question earlier. From the two prayers that you heard, which one was the most convincing? Which one was clear enough and powerful enough for you to say, I am convinced that my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has more compassion, more mercy, and gives more grace than anyone I know. Grace and mercy from God. Wow, what a feeling. How great is that mercy and that grace. Now, at this time, I open up the doors of the Catalyst of Hope, the Citadel of Hope Ecumenical Church. The doors of the church is open. The floor and the altar. Come. Anyone, come. Thank you. Let us pray.